Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to our Facebook Live today. I'm glad that you can join me. If you don't mind giving me 1 second, I want to make sure that I'm on live. Today, we are going to be talking about the topic: do fasting diets really work? Do fasting diet really work? Checking technicalities really quickly. I make sure that this is on. All right. Again, I do want to thank you for showing up and watching the video, and feel free to share. Okay. If you know someone, this is actually a question that I get asked. I've been asked this question a few times, and really a lot of people who are trying to do intermittent fasting, they just want to make sure that this is, it's something that would work for them. Is that something that's safe, that is something beneficial, that they just want to get it right. So that's a good thing. So just thought I'd talk about it today. Okay, I think that is on. So anyhow, we're going to discuss that topic. So we talk about fasting. Fasting is basically, of course, when we deprive our body of food or some substance for a period of time, okay, so that we can accomplish another purpose. Okay, so, and when we talk about intermittent fasting, which is one of the things that is, one of the topics that people are talking about, people are doing, is something, really is when, of course, you're switching out fasting. You're fasting for a period of time, and while you're eating at a period of time. So you have a segmented time that you eat, and you have a segmented time that you fast. So according to many research, actually, this has been proving or shown to be helpful to our health in terms of weight loss, in terms of just metabolically. It has some positive benefits. So that's a good thing, right? So, but I do have to say this is when it is done properly, the right way. So that is also important so that we can be safe in how we do it. So so some people you will find will do fasting, and when we talk about intermittent fasting, meaning they will eat for, let's say, 8 hours, and then they will not eat for like 16 hours. That's a plan. So there's different plans, and people can do it differently, however they feel led. But that's one of the common ways that they do it. Just not eating for 16 hours and then eating for 8 hours. What that looks like, they may stop eating, like at 6 o'clock in the evening, and um, then they'll start eating the next day, like at 12 o'clock. From the hours of 12 to 6, they're not eating. So that's like a 6 hour window. Other people do an 8 hour window. And then another way that people have done it is like eat like 5 days, Monday through Friday, they eat regularly. And then the 2 days, they basically can restrict themselves to certain calorie, 500 or 600 calorie, whatever. So there's different ways to do it. Commonly speaking, people try to eat like an 8 hour window and not eat in a longer, like 16 hours. So how does this work, or why does it work? What happens literally whenever your body is starving or not eating is going to deplete itself of sugar stores in your body. So when that's depleted, it's going to turn into switch over to fat burning. Okay, so it's able to burn fat. So that's kind of how it works. So so it can be beneficial to certain people, and it just depends on how you do it. So, so I do want to sound a word of caution. I'm not necessarily saying, hey, go out and do intermittent fasting. I'm not necessarily endorsing it, but I am saying that it can be a way to lose weight short term. And I really emphasize short term, not as a lifestyle, because the goal is always to lose weight and in a healthy way that is long term, that you can keep off, right? Lose the weight as a lifestyle so that you can, it's a long term effect, not just something quick, because something really quick and fast is not always going to last. So keeping that in mind, um, I'm always about telling people to lose weight and looking at how your diet and nutrition, your exercise, all of those is going to affect you long term. Okay, so moving on. So this can be a practical way for you to actually, if you really want some really short-term results, it can be a way to get that done. Okay, so moving on to how is it going to be done safely. So you want to make sure that the individual, first of all, is consulting their physician, because I think about people with blood sugar issues. So you want to make sure that you've addressed that with your doctor, so you don't run into trouble, because there are some people with underlying chronic illnesses and certain things they can't necessarily handle not eating for a long time. So safety is really, really critical. So if there's a blood sugar imbalance, you really need to have a close monitoring. So that's the who. But when I say it's not for everyone, there are people who you really need to make sure that it is okay. And that only happens when you just consult your doctor and make sure that it's okay. And when, talking about when, is, I don't recommend doing it long term or for too long. Meaning an 8 hour window, or certain hour, or even 24. I know that people, this depends on you really. But you have to make sure that it's not a lifestyle. It's not something that you are constantly doing intermittent fasting all the time. So that's not necessarily recommended. And then how you do it is also important, because you can also do it in a way that supports you metabolically, that supports your body. So the whole goal of intermittent fasting for a lot of people is to lose weight, right? So you want to lose weight, but you want to lose fat, right? That's always the emphasis. We are not just trying to lose weight. Like, we know that weight loss can really, you want to make sure what it is. It can also be water weight. We don't want to, or muscle we want to keep. So the weight that you have on a scale doesn't always mean everything. You have to really be trying to check your fat percentage, your fat loss. So having said that, the goal is for us to lose fat, right? Keep the muscle. So you can support yourself even if you do plan to do intermittent fasting, making sure that you're hydrated, making sure you're getting minerals and vitamins that are going to even help to boost your body's metabolism and to help you while you are in the fat burning. So because we want to burn fat, right? But we also want to keep our body healthy and strong. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with just incorporating, making sure you're staying hydrated, and then making sure you're taking your vitamins and minerals while you're just burning the fat. That's what we want. So saying all of that to say this, um, do fasting diets really work? So it depends. Yes, it can work, but it depends on who, when, and how you do it. So it's always important that you make sure that you are communicating with your physician. They know your health history so that you can have a close watch on that. Okay? So, and I think about, of course, spiritually speaking, how do I even know fast? I know fasting works without even any medical science telling me, because the Bible says it works, right? It's a spiritual application. God has told us that certain things are not going to happen, right, unless we pray and fast about it. So just take a quick look at Matthew chapter 17. If you read that whole passage, from verse 14 to 21, how the man who had a lunatic son who comes to Jesus, actually the man was, he was crazy. The father says he goes around falling into the fire, falling into water, and they brought him to Jesus' disciples to heal him. And the complaint was like they could not heal him, right? So Jesus, gave him a little pep talk, say, hey, you guys know, because of your faith, you have little faith. Then he goes on to say that this kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Matthew chapter 17, you can read verse 14 to 21. So basically, he's saying that spiritual application, that fasting is a necessary step sometimes for us to get a spiritual breakthrough. Sometimes there are things, difficulties in our life that will come, that the only way that we can overcome it, is by prayer and fasting. And I know I mean, I've had, several personal experience with this. When I can just remember is when I was in college, actually, I had all of a sudden, if you've heard of what Bell's palsy is, it's when uh, you just have this sort of paralysis. It looks like a paralysis, but what it is that your facial nerve has been attacked. So it gets weak, and one side of your face looks like it's paralyzed. And you can't move the muscle, and on and on. So it just suddenly happened. Of course, Bell's palsy, there's still studies. They don't really know what triggers it, what causes it, but it happened to me. So, um, and then I remember, started on prednisone, to decrease inflammation and on and on. The things that I did, everything that I was supposed to do, but nothing was working. And of course, not going to read up about it because you will diagnose yourself. And then, of course, it could be permanent, it could be temporary. All of those things can just bring fear into the scene. But I tell you what worked when I prayed and fasted. All of a sudden, all the things that I was doing before, the medication I was taking, all of those things, nothing. It was like my face was like stuck. And when I prayed and fasted, literally the next day there was a turnaround. I was like, oh, this is powerful. So fasting, prayer and fasting works. And I know that there's things that happen that are challenges that happen in our lives. I would uh, encourage you, if you haven't seen a breakthrough yet, to try prayer and fasting. Okay. And then just see what the Lord will do. Okay. So, and I just want to encourage you all as we're talking about, do fasting diets really work? So I want to say it can work depending on who, when, and how, and done in a safe way, of course. But for some people, that just can be the breakthrough that they need in their, whether it's their weight loss goal or their, metabolic goal. Just because it fasting, just even when you just fast, even for spiritual reasons, you just feel better. You feel empowered, strengthens your body is energized. So I know that it has really great benefits. Even before I read it all about it, in the medical world, it's enough that God already said it works. But anyway, having said that, so for some people, intermittent fasting can be beneficial. It may just be the breakthrough that they need, but I would also say that it is not a long term approach. It should not be a long term approach to weight loss. So, having said that, um, just want to say thank you for joining me. Until next time, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to do that, comment below this video. All right, till next time.